Hey everybody, it's Manny Manarath, author of Uncover Your Beliefs, Uncover Your True Health, and founder of Illicit Health. Got some questions for you. How do you take that first step in getting fit and losing weight if, say for instance, you've always lived a life where you haven't been at your healthiest, or you've always suffered from low energy, you know you don't have the vitality that you really want, or say for instance you've always carried that excess weight. How do you take that first step in making a change in your lifestyle if you've never really lived it before? Well, that is the question I often get asked when people learn that I study nutritional medicine, that I present on health and well-being, and that I study human behavior. I get asked that question because a lot of people don't know what that first step is. And I can completely understand, especially when there's so much information out there about how to eat, what to eat, how much you should eat, even what is effective exercise, what you shouldn't and shouldn't do, when you should you eat after 7 o'clock. There is so much information. And unfortunately, the information that is available out there is not necessarily accurate, truthful, and can often be misleading. And there's a lot of conflicting information out there as well. So I can completely understand how people get confused about what's available out there. And that's why I want to share with you this information today about the 4 elements of true health. As you probably know by now, I like to share information about health, starting with the power of the mind. And when you understand how our mind works, how it all comes together with our values and our beliefs and our thoughts, when you tap into the inner world, that's when you can influence the results you really want when it comes to your health in the outer world. So I share this information with people, but then I get asked the next question. Okay, well, what about exercise? What about food? We get told that they're the key elements in order to have a healthy, slim body. And yes, they do form part of the foundation. But a lot of the times, the programs available out there, the information from the marketing of the big corporations, they talk about those 2 key aspects, but they only focus on that. And so people try these diets, they get onto these programs, they have the right intention on, doing the right thing and making a difference in their lives. But what they find is it's not sustainable. Or even if they're on the right path and they're feeling good about what they're doing, something holds them back and they fall back into old habits. And that's why I want to raise people's awareness about the power of their beliefs and how their beliefs can actually be holding them back when it comes to trying to achieve their true health. And that's the purpose of the footage today, to introduce you to the other concepts that make up true health. What I invite you to do is look at all 4 elements. Don't ever approach health by just focusing on one in isolation, because what you'll find is you'll get it right for a while, but then something else will pull you back in the opposite direction, and all that effort you put into trying to improve your health, trying to lose weight, and trying to get fit will not work. It's not sustainable, it won't be long lasting, and you'll find that you'll be worse off than when you started. So let's get moving on to let's finding out what these 4 elements are and how you can use this knowledge to empower you to achieve that health goal that you really want to achieve. So let's talk about number 1. Number 1 is about the mind. And if you've seen my other footages, if you've attended my training, you would have learned how the mind is made up of our thoughts. And our thoughts can come with our feelings and our values and our beliefs. Why it's important is because a lot of our actions and our behaviors are driven by our thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. So if you're getting results that you don't really want, there's a good chance It's because you're caught up in thoughts that aren't empowering. So we look at the mind. And what we focus on is, when it comes to the mind, what is it that drives you to do what you do? Whether it's positive or whether it's negative, the point of it is, what's going on in your mind that drives you to behave and act the way that you do? Because if you're getting results you don't want, let's really think about what else we can do to drive us in the opposite direction to where we really want to go. Another question you need to ask yourself is, what holds you back? If you're moving in the right direction, you're on your way to eating well, to getting fit, to losing that weight, but something keeps pulling you back in the direction that you don't want to go, well, we need to ask ourselves, what are those limiting beliefs that are stopping you from achieving that goal? When you get a better understanding of what drives you, what holds you back, that's when you're setting up the right foundation in driving you towards achieving those health goals. So when you understand what drives you and what holds you back, and you can start working towards achieving your goal, that's when you have true alignment. And alignment is about having your thoughts align with the results you really want to achieve. So if you are carrying that excess weight, if you are feeling as though you're run down, you're tired, and you're not motivated to be physically active, well then a lot of the times it's because your thoughts are driving you to behave that way. So if you have in mind that you want to lose that excess weight, that you want to increase your energy, well then let's start aligning our thoughts, which comes from our mind, to achieving the results we really want. Because once we get the mind working for us, it's going to motivate us and drive us and push us to really achieve what we want. Now, the second element of true health is the body, or our physiology, or our physical world. Now, that's what I was saying before. With a lot of other programs, with a lot of other companies, they will focus on the body only. So they talk about what you need to eat, how you should eat. They also talk about how to exercise, how much sleep you need. But a lot of the times it's just on the physical aspects. And they package up these programs, they give you all this information, which tells you what to do. But not enough explanation goes into why you should do it. So at the beginning, say you're about to start a new program, you're excited, you want to do the right thing, you know that there's a possibility that you're going to get what you want, and say a week or two into it, something starts to pull you back. And it's because you haven't focused enough on why. And a lot of the times, why comes down to the mind as well. But what we want to focus on is, let's get the mind right, and then let's start talking about the body. Now, in my programs, I talk about the mind, but I don't dismiss the fact that some work needs to be done when it comes to the body as well. So in my programs, yes, we do talk about nutrition as well. Nutrition is powerful. Like I said, I study nutritional medicine and I get it. And I understand what it's like to eat poorly and to eat well. I can feel the difference. When you feel good, you want to do the right thing, you want to do the good thing for yourself, you end up moving closer towards what you really want. But I share with you information on nutrition, but I never look at it in isolation. Another thing that's important is physical activity. I don't really like to refer it to exercise, because what I find is a lot of people get put off just by the word exercise. So I say physical activity. Physical activity is imperative to a healthy lifestyle. Any program that tells you don't need to be active is preying on your desire for, a quick scheme in losing weight. But physical activity is important. It's necessary. It's a part of life. And that's something that we incorporate into our programs again. But we never look at it in isolation. A big part of my training programs as well is the concept of empowered eating. If you haven't learnt about it just yet, let me just give you a quick introduction. Empowered eating is the concept of being conscious and aware of what you're eating, why you're eating it, and how you're eating it. Now, I'm not talking about, what types of foods that you should eat, how much you should eat, how many calories you should be eating. None of that comes into play. What we focus on is getting clear on why we want to eat. Because when we know why we want to eat and we're eating because we're hungry, well then that means when your body sends the signal that you are full, that's when you choose to stop eating. And in empowered eating, no food is on the banned list. No food is forbidden. You actually get to choose to eat what you want, whatever you want, and how much you want. It's not a diet. But the difference is you eat because you're hungry and you stop when you are full. When you have that power to make that choice and to be able to listen to what your body really wants and honor it, that is when you feel empowered and positive to continue to do the right thing for yourself. And as part of my programs, empowered eating is a powerful concept which is imperative in making true health work. So I certainly invite you to learn more about that if you haven't already done so. Now the third element to true health is about emotion. Why do I include emotion in here? Because a lot of people seem to believe or overlook that emotion is not important. It is so important because a lot of the times that's what largely influences the decisions that we make. So if we're happy, we're going to make choices that are good for us and that improves our health and makes us feel great. But if we're feeling lousy, if we don't feel worthy, if we don't feel great, well, we're not going to be doing things that are good for us because we just couldn't be bothered, because there's no point. And that's why I think it's really important when it comes to your mission of achieving true health, you need to take into consideration what emotions really mean for you. So what do we focus on when it comes to emotions? We want your choices to come from love, happiness, and worthiness. I want emotions that drive you to behave in a good way to come from a place of love, from positivity, from wanting to do the right thing. A lot of programs out there that teach you how to get healthy, how to be slim, all of that stuff. There's so many rules in them that when you do the wrong thing, they actually encourage you to punish yourself or think about the pain. Focus on, the negative consequences. And by doing that, what happens is you start to focus on negative emotions. And when you focus on negative emotions and not the positive, you can fall into the trap of making choices that are hurtful, that hold you back, and doesn't allow you to achieve that health goal you originally had planned for. So we want you to live in a space where emotions are allowed in your program of honoring your health, and that it comes from a place of love, happiness, and worthiness. Another thing is, by incorporating emotions into a health program, what you're also allowing for is goals and actions that are real and meaningful. And that is because you're connecting it to emotions that mean something to you. And something else I want to stress is that in my programs, emotions are allowed and they do belong. What I mean by that is you've got to accept that things are going to come up for you, because in our programs we talk about a journey of self-discovery. When you're on a journey to self-discover, emotions are going to come up. Things about you that may be confronting, that you may not be sure about, will come up. And what you need to recognize is that there is a place for these. So if you are feeling lousy, if you are feeling unworthy, if you are feeling unloved, you need to look into that and find out what's causing you to feel those feelings. What thoughts are driving you to feel those experiences? A lot of people think, okay, I want to lose weight, I want to get fit. I'm not even going to think about, what I'm really feeling. If I just eat this, if I just do this, I'll be okay. And what they're doing is they're dismissing their emotions. And when they do that, sure, they can do things for a while, but after a while they start to feel unhappy. They start to feel dissatisfied. And that is because they're not acknowledging the emotions that are popping up along the way. How do you acknowledge that? Well, as a first and foremost, start capturing your thoughts and feelings in a diary. Create a journal and start sharing your thoughts and your feelings on what's happening. It's all confidential. It's just for your own purpose. But the point of it is, when you start documenting them, you start acknowledging them. And as you go through the programs and you start to learn more about yourself, you will want to go back to what you have written in the past to understand more about what drove you to behave the way that you did and what can drive you to behave in the way that you really want to. So, emotions have a place, and I want you to recognize that and allow them, when they come up, to explore them. Don't dismiss them. Don't shun them out. So let's go on to the fourth element that makes up true health. The fourth element is about spirit. What do I mean by spirit? Well, I'm not talking about any reference to any religious denomination or anything like that. I'm just talking about what we all know as being what feels right and free. It is what forms a part of our soul. We all know it. We all know the feeling, but we just find it very hard to describe at times. What I'm talking about, when you're in your element, when you are at true health, you have a positive spirit and you feel good. And you live in such a way where other people can just be in your presence and can feel your presence, because they can feel your vibe and your energy and your positivity. And it's not about being fake or pretending to be happy, but it's about being authentic as well. Spirit is so important when it comes to true health, because, hey, if your mind, you've got your mind set out right on what you need to achieve, why you need to achieve it, and you've got a plan on how you can achieve it. You learn the rules on how to, use your body to fuel it right, to keep it moving, to eat well. And so you're on your way, and, you've incorporated emotions, so you're feeling good. But if this is just the space that you live in, this is just for you. But what about people around you? That's where spirit comes in. Because say you're experiencing all this positivity, you're getting all of these results. What stops you from sharing it with other people? If you've been fortunate enough to come across this information and to be able to transform your life from being somebody who was unhappy, who felt terrible when they looked in the mirror, from somebody who didn't even feel like they had control over just eating a meal. Once you discover that and you feel powerful and in charge of your life, what stops you from passing on that information and those learnings with other people, especially those who are struggling with the same? Wouldn't you want to give that to other people? And that's why I think, in the spirit of things, it is our role, when we discover something new and good for us, we should share it with other people. So, Living in spirit is about giving. So if you've been fortunate enough to come across information because somebody's given it to you about lessons that they've received from their own experiences and mistakes, why not give back? Even better, why not pay it forward? You've learnt something new. Your life has changed. Your life has, significantly transformed. What stops you from sharing it with other people? The whole idea is to give. Give information, give love, give hope. Why not? Another thing that we focus on in our programs when it comes to spirit, in achieving true health, is the difference between just living and existing. We focus on how you can live to your fullest, how you can feel great, how you can inspire others to do the same, how you can improve their lives as well as your own, rather than just doing what you need to do and just getting on with it. Because don't you think if you can help other people feel great about their lives, that it gives you a sense of purpose and direction as well? Wouldn't it be powerful for you to be able to contribute the way that I've said to myself that it's my mission to contribute to people's lives as well? If you have that gift of being able to help yourself, why not share it with others? And that's what being in spirit is about sharing, giving, and living. And lastly, another key component of being in spirit is thriving. And when I say thriving, I'm talking about creating an environment where you are constantly learning, constantly investing in yourself and building on your knowledge. Because there's a saying that goes, if you are not growing, then you are dying. And you don't want to die. You don't want to live a life that is just based on existence. You want to grow. You want to be better. You want to give more. And you want to know that you are living and working at your full potential. And that is what being in spirit is all about. Never quitting, never stopping, always, every day, just becoming more, being bigger and giving. So these are the 4 key areas of achieving true health. And I want you to understand, a lot of programs only focus on body. They try to dismiss that a lot of the things that we do come from emotion, and they also come from our beliefs and our values. And when you have all 3 of these elements aligned, that's when you are at a space where you really feel empowered. You're living a life which shows that you are in charge and you have the power to share that gift with other people. So that's what true health to me is all about. And that's what I invite you to learn more about. So what you'll find is many of our various programs will focus on different aspects. And that's just because there's just so much information there is to share with you. There's so much out there. But what I want to stress, and I cannot stress this enough, even though we focus on different aspects of these 4 elements, they're never looked at in isolation. And you will find that they will overlap with one another here and there. But I just want you to get an overview, have some exposure, and understand that this is what I believe has worked for me and has worked for the many people that I've been able to help. And I believe that when you also allow for these 4 elements into your lives, you will also find that you will come closer to achieving your true health goals too. This is Manny Manarath. Thank you very much for joining me today.